Hello, hello, crafty friends, and happy World Card Making Day. This is Sheri from the Papercrafters Workshop, and I'm here kicking off the day with a special project to celebrate World Card Making Day. At PCW, we believe that a handmade card is just like a paper hug. So if you are crafting today, or if you have been crafting in the last couple of days, grab one of those cards, put it in an envelope, and send it to someone special that will share the love that you feel for them, as well as to celebrate World Card Making Day, even if the recipient is not a card maker themselves. A huge thank you to all of the crafty card makers in our community. This day is for you. And if you are a scrapbooker, or if you're another kind of crafter and you don't typically make cards, well, thank you for joining us and watching. Give even one of our projects a try. We have 5 different videos premiering throughout the day today to inspire you and give you ideas and share some of our tips and tricks. So I really do hope that you will craft along with us. I'm going to be creating what's called a pumpkin illusion box card, or at least that's what I'm calling it. It was an idea I found on Pinterest and really thought it was a fun little card. I've got a couple of samples here that I used, or that I created to just test the format, figure it all out. This one here is a little bit more of a non-traditional color scheme, and when you look at it and take it out of the envelope, it does look like just your everyday card. But when you open it up, there is this amazing box element to the format, and it has this floating sentiment on the inside. If you look really, really carefully, you can see what the secret is, but hopefully the people receiving this will just think, oh, wow, you've made me a really special card. I've done it again over here using the harvest paper from Cartabella. And this time I wanted the paper to be the hero, so I've left it pretty simple on the front. But then when you open it up, I've got this beautiful sunflower with some leaves. And then, of course, an area for you to write your message on the inside. The card we're making today is kind of a combination of these two. I've got some fun papers picked out. And you can really choose any paper that you want. You need cardstock, you need 2 different patterns, or even 1 different pattern if you'd like. And I've used some gold paper as the accents here on this card. Today, I'm going to be featuring this amazing die combo from Spellbinders. Spellbinders is a fabulous partner to independent retail stores, and they developed this die set just for us. So you cannot get these from Spellbinders. You cannot get them from a big box store or some of the online giants out there. This is only from an independent retailer. We've got the fall florals, which has the beautiful sunflowers and great leaves, including some really great maple leaves, which sometimes can be hard to find for us Canadians. And then it's got this pumpkin trio as well. And then to pair it up, we have the happy fall sentiments that have some great little words that you can group together to create the sentiments in your card. And today I'm going to be sharing some tips onto how to prep those and use them really easily without stretching them out of shape. So thank you to Spellbinders for putting together this amazing set for us, and it is available for you to purchase. Next up, I'm going to show you my paper. So I'm going to be using 2 different patterns from Graphic 45. This is their Autumn Greetings line. This beautiful paper here with the pumpkins is called Change is Beautiful, and this one with the orange gingham is called Happy Harvest. For this card, you only need maybe a 4.25 inch strip. You don't need a whole lot more of that. I'm also going to use it for some die cutting. So some fun little ways to use this beautiful paper with the white pumpkins. I am also going to be using cardstock from Concord and Ninth. I really, really love their color palette. So the base of our card is going to be peacock, really pairs nicely with the orange in that paper. And then for accents, I'm using wheat, sunflower, lemongrass, and midnight. These 2 are probably 2 of my favorite colors in the whole Concord and Ninth rainbow. And so I'm really, really excited I could work those into this project. And then last but not least, you'll need some white cardstock, and I'm going to be using the brushed gold cardstock from Spellbinders. Really nice, heavyweight, pearlescent brushed metallic paper that just gives that nice little bit of upscale sophistication without it being too shiny. So I'm going to share all of that with you as well. Okay, I am going to start with my pieces for the card. All of mine, with one exception, is pre-cut already, but I'm going to give you the measurements. And that way, if you would like to craft along, if you would like to come back and watch us later to make this project, you'll have all the information you need. I will also put it down below in the video notes so that you can have access to a visual aid, if you will. So the first set of pieces you need are from your base cardstock. And as I said, I am using the Concord and 9th Peacock cardstock. You need one piece that is 4 1/4, so your average card size, by 11, almost as if you were going to be creating a top folding card base. The second piece that you're going to need is 4 1/4 by 7, and that is for that box mechanism. We do have to do some scoring on that, but we will come back to that when we're actually crafting. We're going to work on the inside first and then do the outside and bring it all together. That's the base. Layer number 1 is that Spellbinders brush cardstock that I was just talking to you about. You need 2 pieces that are 4 by 3 3/4. One's going to be for the front, one's going to be for the inside, and then you need one smaller piece that is 4 by 1 1/4. So just 3 pieces of that gold paper. If you're really frugal, you can cut out the centers of these because they're going to get paper layered on top of it. I'm not going to do that for today's purpose, but that's always a technique if you've got precious paper that you want to use every single scrap. Or you could use that for your die cutting as well. You can die cut out of the center and it's going to be covered up with the pattern paper. So that's layer number 1. Layer number 2, I have split this, as I said off the top, into 2 different pattern pieces. You could always do these out of the same pattern paper if you'd like, but I've done it into 2 just so I've got some contrast. And the measurements are the same. So the first one, change is beautiful. We need one that is 3 7/8 by 3 5/8, and that is height. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. Let me measure it. This is width by height. So the 3 7/8 is your width. The 3 5/8 is your height. You want your piece to not be square. You want it to be a little shorter than it is wider. And then you're going to have a second piece that's 3 7/8 by 1 1/8. So just an accent piece. And the same thing will go for your second pattern paper, 3 7/8 by 3 5/8 and 3 7/8 by 1 1/8. So really easy cutting, nice and straightforward. And you've got those there. And like I said, for your very first one, you might want to use all the same paper. If not, you can do 2 different papers like myself and just cut the same measurements. Last but not least, we do have one I'm calling the other panel. We have, and I'm going to skip the first one, we do have a white piece that is the same as those pattern pieces, 3 7/8 by 3 5/8. You'll also want a little piece of white. My piece was 1 1/2 by 2, and I used the Floral Reflections nesting dies, which I'm going to be using later in the project as well. You just want it to be much smaller than the opening that we're going to be creating on the inside. So this one can flux a little bit if you have a piece that's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, that's totally okay. So those are your white pieces. And then you need a piece of acetate. And I've just got mine stuck off to the side here. Just a very nice little piece of acetate. You can take it from packaging. You can take it from something you have in your stash. Probably won't be able to see it. There we go. Here, let me hold it like that so you can see it in the light. It is 1/2 inch by 3 3/4. So I'm going to put that back away safe because usually I lose that underneath underneath all of my pieces. Then last, certainly not least, is all those other colors of scraps, and that is for your die cutting. So I've cut some leaves, some pumpkins. I've used that gold to start cutting my sentiments. And then I've got a piece here that I'm going to demonstrate with you with that sentiment set as well. So that is your prep. Who's ready to get crafting? I'm going to get my pieces organized over here. Grab my tools. So the first tool that you're going to need is your scoring board, which I've got right here, because we're going to do some simple scoring on that first inside piece. Actually, let's do all the scoring. That way we don't have to bring this out a second time. So we're going back to our peacock pieces. Both pieces have the same score line. They are going to score at 1.5, and they are going to score at 5.5. So even though they're different lengths, we're going to score them in the same place. We'll start with the biggest one. I'm going to put it in horizontal, and I am going to score at 1.5, which is right over here, 1.5, and 5.5. So that's going to give me my outer card base. When you're scoring, when you've got cardstock, it's usually not too bad, but if you decided to use pattern paper or a lighter weight paper for your card base, don't push too hard when you're scoring. It's much easier and better to go over it a few times than to push hard and push through your paper. You don't want that. So there is the first piece, and I can just fold right along those score lines. We'll come back to this in a few minutes. And then we've got our smaller piece. So this piece is 4.25 by 7. Again, I'm going to put it in horizontal, so going sideways. And I'm going to score at, let me bring this up a little bit higher there, 1.5, 5, and 5.5. So 1.5 and 5.5. There you go. And that is literally all the scoring that we need to do for this project. So I can put my scoring board away. Keep it close though, because if you're making lots of cards today, then you want to have it handy. So this is our center mechanism. Where did I hide my centers? There they are. I put my paper off to the side and then hid my samples. So let me bring out the purple one here. The piece we're going to work on to begin with is this center illusion panel in the middle. So this is using that smaller piece, the 4.25 by 7. And the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut this opening so that we've got that piece all ready to go. My pieces out of the way. I'm going to bring my die cutting machine out. You're not going to see it, but I'm going to just have it off to the side. And as I mentioned, I am using the Floral Reflections nesting set from Spellbinders. I love their nesting sets because you've got some beautiful dies, wonderful shapes that all nest down from large to small. And that is really kind of a key piece of this particular card. I think the one I want is this one here. As long as you can fit it left to right, top to bottom, kind of centering it, then you've got the right size. You can pick any size you want, but for this piece, the bigger the opening, the better. I think if I go up to the next size, it's too big. Yeah, it's going to cut right out of the edges, and I don't want that. So let's go with this one here. This was the 4th largest. It's kind of right smack in the middle of this set. And I'm going to put the cutting side down, center it as best I can, left to right and top to bottom. Let me grab some of my best ever craft tape just to hold it in place. Sometimes this tape, I love this tape, but sometimes it's really sticky. And in this case, I don't want it to pull any of that cardstock off. So just give it a little play with your fingers. And then let me die cut this out here. I do find, and as you saw, I made a few versions of this. I do find it's much easier to assemble all the pieces first. And by assemble, I mean, let's get all the decorating done. Let's get all the elements on here and then put the two pieces together. Once you get that box made, it's a little bit hard to work inside, especially if you got fat fingers like I do. But so it's a lot easier to kind of work one layer at a time and then put them together in the end. So left over, we have this little piece here. Don't throw it away. We are going to use it on the front of our card. So I'm going to put that over with that card front. Okay, from a decorating standpoint, super easy. I'm going to fold both this top panel and bottom panel away from me because it's going to sit in the card like this. So we want both of those panels folding away from us. This is where I want my acetate. Because this is, you know what, we're starting with the magic of this project. This acetate is going to go on the inside. So I'm going to flip it over. And here is my acetate sitting right here. Don't want to lose it. And I'm just going to use a little bit of score tape. This tape is not going to be seen. This inside piece is not going to be seen. So it's totally okay that you can use tape or something that's not invisible because it's going to be hidden. When you're putting your tape into place, do not cross over your score lines. You just need a little bit here to hold that acetate. So let me give it a little burnish, get my pokey tool, whoops, and pull this off. And I just about thought I'd lost my acetate, but I see it right here beside me. And I'm just gonna go from one piece to the other and lay this down. Now, I intentionally cut my acetate a little bit shorter than what this panel is. As long as it's going to cover that opening, you don't need to worry about length per se, but you do want to make sure that it's going to fold nicely. So keep it nested inside those score lines. Because I have a little bit of tape still showing here, I'm just going to take my powder tool and give it a little powder just so it doesn't stick to anything else. Flip it back over, and this is now where we're going to attach our floating element. I'm going to bring all of those out here. So I've got my little white shape, this using the exact same shape, and a lot of this is going to get covered up, but this is our base for the actual floating element to our card. So all I need to do is put a little bit of tape in behind that, like so. And tape handy. Now, all of these supplies that I'm sharing with you, of course, can be purchased from our store, the Papercrafters Workshop. We are located just north of Toronto in Stouffville, Ontario, and we also ship. So go and check our website out. That's also going to be in the video notes. Where my tape is going to go on top of my acetate. And again, I'm trying to center it top to bottom, left to right, as much as I can. Look at that. Easy peasy magic, already in progress. All we need to do right now is decorate that floating element to finish it off. So I'm going to do the words happy fall. And from that die set, I have die cut the shadows already, but I want to show you how I do the detail words. So here I've just got it loaded up on a magnet. This is the sunflower and the pumpkin. The fall florals is actually what it's called. And then here is those fall sentiments down here. Let me just slide this over. This is the piece that I'm going to cut out. I'm going to cut it out using this teal again so that everything just looks all beautiful and coordinated. I'm also going to be using some teal words on the front. So the words I'm going to be using is happy fall on the inside and hello you on the front. Now on the back of this paper, I have attached a Spellbinders liner sheet. Liner sheet comes at 8.5 by 11 size, and it is double-sided adhesive, but it's nice and thin, so it's really easy for you to die cut. And with these delicate sentiments, it is super handy to have them already glued before you go to stick them on. So I'm just going to take this off to the side. I'm going to load up Fall and Happy, and while I'm cutting, I might as well cut the Hello You as well. I should be able to fit it all on here. There we go. Put this off to the side. And I did cover the whole area with the liner sheet, with the exception of the edges, which we rarely ever get to anyway. So it's very easy for me to just place my die cuts and give them a run through the machine. Because it is a thicker, slightly thicker element, you may want to go back and forth once or twice. And one of the things that I really like about this liner sheet, and I've done it with the metallic, let's see if it works with the regular cardstock as well, is when you take the dies off, the words should be left behind. We'll see. Usually happens that way, but of course, now that I'm talking about it, it's probably not going to happen. So here I've got it all cut. Let me see if I can, no, it is going to come all the way out. So there's hello. I'll come back to hello. I want happy fall. So there's happy. And then there's fall. But these are sticky now. So you can go and place them on your shadows or on your project. Let me get my tweezers. Also helps you pick them up if it's sticky. So I can now just peel this out. Make sure all the little bits, and I'll clean these all out after the video. And come on. There we go, little bits. And I'm going to attach this right to the word fall. And because it's already glued, because it's already got sticky stuff on it, I don't have to worry about it getting glue everywhere. These are really delicate, so even using the glue press from my Sweet Petunia is probably going to create a little bit of a mess. So this method with the liner sheet just really keeps your mess to a minimum. Okay, so happy. There we go. And then I can place them here on my little white piece. So I'm going to do that. Because there will be some hanging off. Oops, my little nozzle got a little gluey. I don't want to go right to the edge. I want to keep it kind of in the center. And I'm going to go happy. And fall. Mess that right in there. And you know what? This is the hardest piece of the whole card, and we are now done. So our little floating illusion piece is all finished. Happy, I'll have to clean out. Fall, hello, you are still up there. All right, just making sure I got all my pieces. All right. Put my die cutting machine away because I think we're done the die cutting part. I have pre-cut all of my pumpkins and such, so we can just now have the fun of decorating. All right, so now we're moving on to our larger piece. We're going to decorate the outer part of this. And this is where we need some of our gold pieces and some of our pattern pieces. So for the outside, we need one of the layer 1 pieces, actually 2 of the layer 1 pieces, one of the 4 by 3 3/4. That's going to go here. And we need that piece that is 4 by 1 1/4. That's going to go here. I'm just switching to my tape runner because I think that should be nice and easy for keeping these in place. There's 1 and 2. Make sure your edges are lined up as much as possible. Now, and so this piece here, we're going to save for the inside. Back to layer 2 now. I am going to use the pumpkin piece that is 3 7/8 by 3 5/8, and that should nest really nicely in here. And I'm going to go to the orange gingham, which is the Happy Harvest, and that's going to go here on the bottom. So just layering up my papers, creating some nice sparkly layers, some beautiful colors, and pulling it all together. So just like you would a normal card, and definitely you can take this layout if you don't, even if you don't want to do the box card element, you just want a really nice card. This is an interesting little format here. All right, on the front, this is where we're going to pull out our shape that we cut out from the inside. Waste not, want not. So we're going to pop that right in here. So far, I've kept everything pretty flat because I'm going to pop up my decorative elements, my die cuts, my pumpkins, all that good stuff. Keep that nice and flat. And you know what? As much as we want people to be oohed and awed by the outer piece, that inner mechanism is kind of the hero. So we don't want to, we want to build up to it. We don't want to take away from it. I'm gonna start by putting my sentiment here. So this is where my hello you, I'm gonna tuck it right down here on the orange. And because I want to start on that right hand edge and work backwards, I'm gonna start with the U first, and then I can come back and put hello on. That way I make sure everything fits. All right, so there's you. The nice thing about gingham paper is you can pick a line and follow it. I'm going to come down just a smidge and follow that second last line. So it's a little bit offset. And then my hello. I can just follow that line as well. Hello, you. And then inside we'll say happy fall. All right, next up is my little focal element. And I have cut out a whole trio of pumpkins. I've got my white pumpkin. I've got a pumpkin that I've cut out using that orange gingham paper to tie it all together. And I have a little yellow pumpkin. I did have a little bit of trouble matching the oranges. So when you have that problem, don't try to match. Go with something a little bit different. This orange is, or this yellow is in the same family, but it gives you a little bit of a different, brighter look. Also, it'll help it stand out from that gingham. And then I've got some leaves here from that lemongrass, from the midnight, and from the wheat. So I'm going to start with my white pumpkin right in the center. Maybe I'll come over just a little bit, and I am going to use some foam squares to pop those up. Because I'm going to be tucking my leaves and things inside, I'm literally just going to put foam squares down the center. These are not such big die cuts that you have to worry about those pieces kind of collapsing. I know there are many of us who like to foam, but when you're tucking, it is better to, less is more. So I'm going to put this right over here on the left-hand side, kind of centered top to bottom, right here. Now, if you notice, my pumpkin doesn't have a stem. I wanted to bring in some more of those gold accents, so I've cut them out of that brushed gold paper. I did not use the liner sheet on these ones because you really just need a little bit of glue on the tip. If you put liner sheet everywhere, then it may stick where you don't want it. So I'm going to put the stems right here. Now, the nice thing about these stems is they all come on one little die. So you cut all 3 of them out at the same time. And other than the really little one, the other two, it doesn't really matter which one you put where, because they will fit on either pumpkin. All right, my gingham pumpkin is going to go right here. Once again, I'm just going to put my foam squares kind of down the center. There we go. Overlapping. And then my little yellow pumpkin, which is hiding here. Oh, I got to go back and put the stem, but that one just really needs one foam square. And in hindsight, maybe I should have put the stems on before I started layering them on the card, but that's okay. We can make it work. So a little stem for the little pumpkin. Just a little bit of glue. And this one here. I really like using tweezers with delicate things because that way I can kind of twist and turn them without losing them. There we go. And then I'm going to take this piece here and tuck it in there. My friend Karen did some fall cards using navy blue, and I was really inspired by that. So I like just that hit of non-traditional color for an accent. And you really don't need a lot of glue on these. I'm going to tuck the maple leaf under here. And behind. And let's take these two guys. I'm actually going to stick them together first and then put them down as one whole unit on the card. I'm just kind of offsetting them a little bit. And back to my tweezers. Let's tuck them in over here. So there, we've got that nice little cluster of pumpkins with leaves and some really fun Halloween colors. The last little bit of decorating will be on the inside, but this is the one that I think we're going to wait till the end. And that way we know if anything's out of alignment when we put our card elements together, then we can kind of fudge it and make it work. So here is the assembly of the box card. We're going to open this up essentially, and we'll do a dry fit first just to show you how it's going to work. This top panel here is going to go on the inside of this top panel here. Easy peasy. And then this bottom piece is going to attach to the bottom or the back part of that card base. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up with my double-sided tape, my score tape, like this, and like this, just top and bottom of that panel. And I'm going to do the same thing down here because then it's already done. Try to get those pieces of tape as close to the fold as you can so that it stays nice and flush when we make the card. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to only pull the liner sheet on the top elements or the top panel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up and then I'm going to scooch this forward until it stops. So I'm just sliding it over till it stops. Make sure your sides are aligned left to right. So make sure everything's lined up here. And then I'm just going to fold this over. That way you don't have to worry about trying to make things match. Use that panel as a bumper and pull it up like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slide that up. So here you can see that orange panel. I'm going to slide it up. I'm going to go ahead and pull this liner sheet, the backing on that tape, and I'm not moving any of this part. I'm just taking this and folding it up like this. This way you know that when you are finished and your card is done, you go to put in the envelope, it is nice and flat. Let's test it out. There you go. Look at how beautiful that is. All right, so now we just have to finish it up with our last pieces of decorating, our last pieces of die cutting. So we need gold. And I'm going to assemble this all here and then put it on the card. We need our white panel, which is a little bit smaller. Oh, this one we probably should have put in before. I'll come back to that one. And then we need that little strip of pumpkin, and it's going to go right across the bottom here. So let's take those up. The white is going on top of the gold. The white is, to refresh your memory on measurements, 3 7/8 by 3 5/8. So just like those pattern pieces, it's just a little bit smaller than that gold, which is 4 by 3 3/4. And this little piece here is just going to go on top. So this is the one that was 3 7/8 by 1 1/8. The same size as that one there, but we're putting it on the inside. And now this one can all nest right in here. And this is where, if you didn't maybe get that box panel perfectly straight, you can make some adjustments. And I do have some die cuts to put on here, but I'm sure you're asking me, where does this guy go? This guy is actually meant to go inside here, and it probably would have been easier to put it on before we put the box, as I said, but sometimes we forget these things. So it's just going to show through behind that open window. I've just used my tape runner, and I'm going to do my best to center it top to bottom, left to right, as long, and if you have to cheat it, I would cheat it down versus cheating it up. Oh, got to come this way just a little bit. Because when the card is open, that's all you want to see. You don't want to see the little blue part down there. So easy enough to squeeze that in even after the fact. All right, we're going to finish up. I've got some more leaves, and I've got another little white pumpkin. This one I'm going to do all flat because you want that card to lie flat when it's on the inside. So let me put my pumpkin stem on first. And how I do it, if I want to keep it all flat, is I glue and arrange it off the card and then stick it all down as one unit. So behind this pumpkin, I want the green and the blue. So let me stick that on there. On this side. Like so. And then it can, oops. Little bit of glue down here. And it can go behind. The liquid glue allows us to kind of wiggle it, make sure we've got it in the right spot. This guy's going to go on the front, so I'm going to go ahead and put this whole thing down. Right over here. And we'll finish up with our little wheat oak leaf. Just kind of lying in front there. So that ties all the colors from the front into the inside, and look at how adorable that card is. So thank you very much for joining me for this first video of World Card Making Day 2024. I do have something a little extra for you, and that is if you liked anything you saw here, you want to go and grab it from our store, we do have, I'm going to get this out of the way, we do have a wonderful little special offer just for those of you who are watching these videos. If you shop online and use the code PAPERHUG24, you're going to save 15% on your purchase today. This coupon is good until October 7th. There are some exclusions, as they usually are, but we do appreciate you as card makers. We do appreciate you as part of our crafting community, and hope you enjoyed this extra special little bonus. Now, keep watching throughout the day. There are 4 more videos to come. The schedule is posted over on our Facebook page, and we will keep posting the links here as or posting the links in Facebook, and you can see them premiering here as well. A handmade card is a paper hug, so please do go and send a paper hug to someone special, and happy World Card Making Day to you. Thank you so much for joining us.